The Nuclear Threat Initiative, NTI, is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization committed to reducing dangers that stem from chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons and materials. It was founded 10 years ago by U.S. Senator Sam Nunn and entrepreneur Ted Turner. And our model is a little bit different from traditional think tanks, which do independent research and analysis and try to recommend things to governments. We do that, but we also have the resources and the know-how to actually implement projects. And so in that way, we have what we call demonstration projects, where when governments are unable to fill certain gaps in terms of addressing these problems, NTI is able to implement these projects and pave the way for governments to follow. The first line of defense against a terrorist trying to acquire nuclear materials is for it to be secured at the source, and if possible, to actually eliminate weapons-usable material from as many countries as possible. This is primarily done by repatriating the materials back to the source country, which is either the United States or Russia. Securing nuclear materials is a core part of the NTI mission since its inception. Most recently, one of our projects to make a contribution to the field and to advance policy objectives has been the NTI Nuclear Material Security Index. It's a first-of-its-kind, country-by-country assessment of how well countries are doing at securing weapons-usable nuclear material. And in this context, we meant that to be highly enriched uranium and separated plutonium. We did not include low-enriched uranium or radiological sources. A range of recommendations that we make in terms of what countries can do to improve their individual stewardship of nuclear materials includes everything from, if you have this material and you don't really need it, get rid of it. You can repatriate it to the United States or Russia. If you're producing these materials, can we get to a rationalized policy of what's the minimum amounts necessary for civilian and scientific use? And then one of our other recommendations is that if you're a country that needs help, ask for it, because there are also countries that are able to provide assistance. We've actually had governments share with us things that they will do to improve or address deficits that were identified in the index. That was exactly the kind of reaction we had hoped for, that the index could really help governments kind of get their minds and their arms around the scope and breadth of the problem. And using public open source information, we've assessed 176 countries on how well they do on things that we, along with our international panel of experts, believe matter for nuclear material security. So our hope is that when countries take a look at the index, see what their score and ranking is, and then look at even their individual country summaries, they have another input into their internal conversations about where they need to improve, where they're doing well, and where they might be able to offer assistance to others. One of the areas of priority for governments to focus on is what we call in the index security and control measures. This is the heart of material security, that if you have the materials, make sure that they're appropriately protected in terms of their physical security, make sure you're accounting for these materials in an accurate way, make sure your security is vetted. We looked at 3 different checks that we thought security personnel should be subjected to. Not all countries do them. So that's, another way of mitigating particularly the insider threat. Also making sure that the appropriate response capabilities are in place if there was a theft. And then finally, and probably most important, is ensuring that appropriate security is around these materials when they're being transported. Because when these materials are in transport, that's one of the most vulnerable times that they could be stolen.